Welcome back to the garage, or welcome to the garage if this is the first video of mine that you've seen. My name is Zane. First off, I wanted to thank all of the new subscribers and all of the subscribers that I've had. I had 360 subscribers the other day, and now I have over 770. So I actually gained in the last few days more subscribers than I've actually had. So I wanted to say thank you to everybody who takes the time out of their day to watch my videos. I truly appreciate that. I really like all of the comments that I've been getting. I've been getting a lot of thumbs up on my videos as well, and that's all because of you all, and I wanted to thank you all for that. That really, truly means a lot. Now, I wanted to take time out of the day. It's a beautiful morning, and we're going to go over the second half of Project Atlas. I guess we'll just start at the front of the truck and I'll show you around this old piece of equipment. Now this is a 1977 Ford F600. It's a rollback truck. The bed slides back and does pitch down. It's not just a tilt bed. I know some trucks are different. But let me show you what's under the hood. This is what I believe to be a 360 FE Ford engine. Now they made the 360 and the 390. I pulled the radiator out of it just so one of the local people here in town that see it sitting in my field don't help themselves to it. But this engine is completely locked up. I don't know what's wrong with it. I may try to whenever I start putting this project together and maybe get a little ahead and have some extra time. I may try to tear this engine down and see what is exactly wrong with it. Now there's no swelled out spot on the oil pan, there's no hole in it, there's no hole on the block, so I don't really think that anything internally, let loose. But this engine is, like I said, locked up. The truck has a 4-speed manual transmission, but still, even though this engine is locked up, there are a lot of good parts on this that I can use on the other engine that I have. Valve covers, exhaust manifolds, I believe all that stuff is interchangeable between this and the 391 that I have, as well as that massive carburetor on there. Now it's a Holley just like the one that's on the yellow truck, but these have, I believe, a built-in governor on the side of them. The radiator, I've got that sitting up in my shed. It's the exact same as the one on the yellow truck, so that is interchangeable as well. Now the radiator that was in this didn't leak. It actually had antifreeze in it, so I know it's in good shape. Let me shut the hood back on this old truck. Now this is actually my Ford. As you can see, I'm missing the O. But back in the day, I have honestly never seen one myself that had a chrome grille and a chrome bumper. Now I'm not sure if that was an option at the time to get that, or if somebody actually went out, spent the money, and had this grille chromed and the bumper chromed as well. And it's a terrible shame that it's bent and the bumper's bent down here, because somebody probably would have really liked that on their truck. I would have tried to have sold that. It can maybe be straightened out. You can see it's just kind of creased down here. I have the big massive winch bumper on the front of mine, so I don't have a need for it, but that chrome grille would have been really nice in mine too. But the body on this truck is fairly rough. You can see that hood's got some rust. The floorboards kind of has some rust in it as well. The hood, somebody before me needed in there really badly and just absolutely destroyed the top of the radiator support and creased the hood really bad. I guess had a pry bar or something in there trying to open it up. I just got in here, undone the 2 bolts, took the hood latch off of it so I could open the hood and check the engine out. But the paint job on this truck is actually pretty awesome. I mean, this was probably a slick looking truck back in the day. You've got the black, you've got the gold on here that's almost kind of, it has some kind of a flake to it. And then there's a really dark maroon in it as well. And you can see that it's actually been pinstriped around both. I mean, this was probably a really slick looking truck back in the day. Now, one thing that's kind of unusual about this truck, not really anything mechanical wise, but the company that owned this, Marazzo's, was from Hamilton, I guess, Township, New Jersey. And that's kind of unusual because I am in Missouri, so unless somebody got a really good deal on this truck, they went and traveled a long distance to go and get this and bring it here to Missouri. So I hope it was definitely worth it for the previous owner, money-wise, because that's quite a trip. You can also see the tag on this. Power equipment distributed by Equipment Sales and Service, Ward Street, Bloomfield, New Jersey. Now the bed, I have no clue what actual brand name it is. I don't believe it's a Jerdan because it's steel. I know Jerdan made a lot of aluminum beds. They may have made some steel ones when they kind of first started out. But the bed's kind of rough on this truck. You can see there's rust spots on it. The deck is not 100% straight because you can see it's got a nice little duck pond in the middle of it. It's got a spot on the side where I guess somebody hooked a chain to, or hooked the winch to, and ran it a little bit too tight. But I do like the fact that this is a nice thick steel deck, and you can see, maybe if the sun's not shining on here too bad, it's fairly thick, but it's got some heavy duty D-rings that have been welded on here. One thing about this truck that I don't really need per se is this stinger on the back. Now, a lot of trucks have a stinger just like this one that is hydraulic driven, that comes out and pitches up and down with the controls of the truck, and that's for hauling another car behind this. You would have wheel straps and some L-shaped brackets that the wheels of the car would fit on, and you would haul a car behind this truck. But I don't really need that, and what I believe I'm going to end up doing is taking this off completely when I get the truck all back together. This slides out. This can come pretty far back on the truck so you get the car away from it. And I think I'm going to make something, maybe a pintle hitch that'll fit in here so I can actually pull a trailer behind this truck. I think that would be far more effective than being able to pull a car. But I'll still definitely keep this in case I ever needed to haul maybe a 2-ton truck or something behind this. This has kind of the same setup as my brown rollback. This is a low ground pressure foot that comes down on this bed. Now, whenever you slide the bed back, you want to make sure that this foot goes down on the ground and it actually supports the rear half of the truck. And that keeps your bed, whenever you're rolling it back and have something heavy on it, it has this right in the middle of it to support the weight while you're winching something heavy up onto that bed and winching the bed back up onto the frame of the truck. But you can see that the rear half of this truck is in actually pretty good shape, even though the bed is a little bit rough. You can see these massive, at least I would say they're massive, I-beams on both sides of this bed. And somebody has came in here before and reinforced a lot of these runners underneath the bed. Now you can see there's one up there that has some rust holes in it, and there's one on the other side I'll show you as well, is in fairly bad shape. This is the one that's in fairly bad shape, and by fairly bad I mean it's pretty much toast. But a guy can still get in here and cut this out of there, slide in a piece of rectangular tubing, and get this bed floor raised back up and level before it's welded in there, and really fix this bed up. Now, I know it looks rough. It's probably looking incredibly rough to a lot of people out there, but there's also a lot of guys kind of on my side that understand that all it takes is a little bit of work and you can get this truck kind of fixed up and going. And on the driver's side, behind the rear axle, it has the control box. And unfortunately, a lot of these handles, well, pretty much all of them but this one, are missing off of it. I think I've got one up here. It's kind of bent out of the way. There's one in the cab, I think, also. But you can see that there is quite a few hydraulic hoses on this truck as well, just like my brown truck. But this is actually a really good donor to what I'm going to be doing with it. It's got a heavy-duty box on the side here for putting all kinds of straps, chains, binders inside. Let me show you the inside of this truck. Now the inside of this truck is, yeah, there's a lot to be desired on the inside of this truck. It's been sitting for a long time, like I've said. I couldn't even tell you how long this truck has actually been sitting. It came from a guy here in town where I'm from. He used it for his tractor shop. He would haul tractors on it and lawnmowers, small brush hogs, and he used it for quite a bit, but it sat for a long time, and that's how I got a hold of it. You see the floorboard is, yeah, it's rusted up pretty bad. The back glass has been out of this truck for quite a while, so the water's kind of got in here, and it's kind of wreaked havoc on the floorboard of this old truck. Like I mentioned earlier, it does have a 4-speed transmission instead of a 5, so there's no overdrive in it. One great thing about this truck as well, it's the exact same body style as the yellow one. So if I need a door, I've got one. If I need a fender, I've got one. And that kind of practice works out very well, because I know on the yellow truck the fenders are beat up and they've been cut on a little bit on the back side here and on the front side as well. So any patch panels that I need, I could make, or I could just simply cut out of these fenders, which is what I'll probably do. Another awesome thing about this project is that the frames are exactly the same width apart. Now let me take you in the garage and show you why that's important. Now for me to fully show what I'm trying to accomplish with putting these two trucks together, we have to go back to the drawing board. And when I say that, I quite literally mean the drawing board. So let me kind of show you both of these trucks and what I plan on doing to them in the little diorama that I've kind of cut out and drawn up. So let me put the first truck together and show you that one. Now both of these trucks I've pretty much drawn two-wheel drive. You know, they sit fairly low, but when I put them together, obviously the one is going to be four-wheel drive. So what I've got here is the rollback truck that's down in my field. Now, like I said, that truck has a locked up 390 in it, 4-speed manual transmission. It's obviously two-wheel drive, and it's in pretty rough shape. So what I'm really concentrating about on that truck is using the rear portion of it, which includes the rollback bed. We'll take the cab off here for purposes of showing what I'm going to do. Now, on the frame, there is a double frame section that covers the frame of this truck. It goes over the main frame of the truck, and the frames on these are C-channel. So you got your C-channel if you're looking at this from the front view. Your double frame section fits over it in an inverted L shape. It doesn't wrap completely around it. So this keeps the frame from flexing whenever you're using the bed. It keeps the truck from flexing in the middle at all. It keeps the top of the frame rigid. So let's get that out of the way, and let me show you the yellow truck. Now the yellow truck has a much shorter wheelbase, as you can see from the center of the axle to the edge of the frame. Now this truck has a good engine, transmission, everything about it is good except for the rear portion of the truck, this flatbed, this really short flatbed. I have no use for this. Now I do want to keep the flatbed because it's actually made out of some really good rectangular tubing that I can use for another project. So I'm not using the rear section of the frame on this truck. Now this truck also has a double frame section that covers the mid portion of it from about the firewall to the rear portion of the cab. Now the yellow truck from the center of the axle towards the rear of the frame, right about where I've gotten this arrow, has actually been lengthened. And somebody has put a piece of rectangular tubing in there. It's got a few welds on it, and they're kind of some terrible welds. So from the rear center of this frame back, the frame is pretty much useless as well. So I can't just take my rollback bed and put it on there, because you can only see how far that much is hanging over the back of it. The center of the axle on that truck is way back here, so it would essentially put every bit of the weight on the back of this truck. Now with this rollback truck, you can see the center of the rear axle is fairly close to the center of the bed. Now that helps out when the bed comes down and pivots. You pick a car up on it, roll this bed back, it evenly distributes the weight onto the entire vehicle instead of having too much weight on the rear of the truck or too much weight on the front of the truck. Now I've got both of these trucks close together, and let me try to show you visually a little bit better what I'm talking about. So this truck here, we're getting rid of the flatbed. Going to pull the double frame section off of this truck and get it out of the way for now. Going to pull the double frame section off of this truck and get it out of the way for now. I'm going to take and cut this truck in half behind the cab. Now take the truck, cut it in half behind the cab, get rid of this rear section for the yellow truck. Now obviously I'll have to prop this truck up and get everything level and straight. Next thing I'm going to do, with this truck being completely together, is I'm going to come in here and I'm going to chop this in half as well. So now you got the front section of the truck together, still on the frame. You know, it will have the axle in the front of it that I can kind of roll and get out of the way. Then after that, I'm going to take this section of truck and I'm going to put it together just like that. Now I'll have to swap the rear end out of the rollback truck because the gears are different in it, and I think it's a smaller rear end than the Rockwell that's in the yellow truck. So this rear end I'll swap out, and I'll swap the one back end from the yellow truck so the gears match and they are the same axles, Rockwells. Then I will come back in here and I will take the double frame section, put it right back over here. Well, first of all, I'll weld these together, and then I will put the frame section back over there, weld it all up, and next thing you know, you got a 2-ton four-wheel drive rollback. I said it earlier in the video, and I'll say it again. Thank you very much for taking the time out of your day to watch my videos. It truly means a lot. I never really would have guessed when I started putting videos on YouTube that people would want to watch them, and now I've got over 700 subscribers, so I truly appreciate that. And all that does is give me more ambition to go out and try to do better videos and give you better content, so thank you for that. If you would also, check out my buddies at Central Oregon Shenanigans and the Fox Shop. Their channel links will be in the video description below. If you like what you see with them, go ahead and subscribe to them as well, and just drop down in the comments section and tell them Zane sent you. But thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up, leave a comment or a question down below, subscribe if this is the kind of content that you're into, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on any updates on these awesome projects. And as always, just a friendly reminder that it doesn't matter if you're working on your project in a garage or in your driveway. What matters is that you go out there, you do the job yourself, and you learn more about your project, whatever that project may be. Now that this video's over, how about you go outside and work on something? My name is Zane, and I'll catch you next time.